I do believe that existing structures should be deemed conforming. I am concerned with the way the residential conservancy designation, how it's defined and how it's applied. I just think it needs to be looked at a little more. I'm not saying it needs to be done away with, but it's concerning. I don't like how the draft currently handles the addition or rebuilding of existing structures that might exist within a buffer. And I guess what I would like to say to everybody is that the health of Puget Sound and our shorelines, it's a community problem. The shoreliners are just on the front line, and I think that as a community we need to solve it. It's not all a result of them. It's our stormwater we pay into a swim fee. Those funds should be put towards solving some of those problems too. I just think it's important for everyone to know it's not something we can expect the shoreline homeowners to solve on their own.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. What do you want to tell island property owners, shoreline property owners about the program? What's your message and what's your take on what's happening right now?
Like Sarah, this is a long subject. I see a lot of discussion by shoreline property owners about being upset about the shoreline management update. We have to comply with state law. It's a requirement by the state. We have a deadline of the end of this year to have our new SMP into the state DOE. So the people that want to put it off, first of all, I think it should be done, and it should be done on time. We've worked on this. We've had a very fair and open, fair in my mind, an open public process. We've included shoreline owners in all of the committees. Both the Planning Committee, Commission, and the City Council are taking, I think, enough time to get this right. We already have a shoreline management plan, so it's not like we're starting over from scratch, and we're making some modifications to it. When shorelines by themselves, actually, if you didn't have bulkheads, they erode. So the shoreline owners, by saying we don't have any effect on the environment, just by the fact that a good part of Bainbridge Island is already armored, has had an effect on the environment. And so the idea is to, what buffers are required, what's reasonable. The thing we want to do is to establish a shoreline management plan that isn't too onerous on the shoreline owners. And I think everything is virtually grandfathered, so the regulations will affect what is going forward from now. So if you have a property that is existing and you don't make any modifications to it, you're not affected any more than you are under the current shoreline management plan. So it's not as onerous as you might think. The idea that conforming and non-conforming is a nationwide legal term that says that essentially your property now would not conform to current regulations or zoning. And that's a tough one because it's only a label, and the state legislature actually made it a little more complicated for cities by the fact that they passed a law that said you don't have to call it non-conforming. So if we can get to the point where we can do what the state requires, which is no future degradation, no additional degradation, then, and we can call it, and we can still preserve the non-conforming, if we can preserve a property from going non-conforming, then I would support that. But the idea is we've got to comply, and we've got to get this through the Department of Ecology, and they're going to have the final vote. I don't want to make it any more onerous, and I don't want to make mitigation expensive for shoreline property owners. I've owned shoreline property on the island, and I know some of the problems, and I know how expensive it is to hire geotechs or people that are going to have to make the decisions on what is fair mitigation. I don't want to make that expensive for shoreline property owners.